Hey, how's it going? My name is Clancy, and today we're gonna deconstruct my song To Feel. To Feel is song number 7 of my debut album, Daydreaming. This song is very old because I started it sometime around 2020, right after I released my EP Sleepless. And the thing about this song, which kind of sets the tone for the rest of the songs that came after this one, I kind of wanted to pivot from what I did in Sleepless. And to be quite frank with you, I'm not entirely sure what I did in Sleepless. I was just trying to figure out how to write, produce, all of that stuff and make it into like a single project. But something that I certainly remember is when I started making a new batch of demos. And for some reason, I think it was like trendy at the time, or like maybe I was a little late to the trend. I'm not sure now. But I kind of wanted to like follow these like 80s type of vibes. You know, a lot of synths, a lot of reverb on the drums, guitars that kind of reminded you of Prince, hence the purple. And I don't know, I think I wanted something more colorful. If you look at the art and everything from Sleepless, it was all very gray. I was certainly following a color palette, but it was very, I wouldn't say black and white, and I wouldn't say lifeless. In my hard pivoting, I just wanted to make something that felt more colorful. For those of you who have been following me for some time know that I originally released this song as a single back in February of 2021, and originally the song was almost 6 minutes, but I felt that was like a little too long, and all of my songs kind of lasted between 4 and 5 minutes, which is a little long for pop records. So I decided to like shorten the 2 outros that I had made, and my original intention was to release both around the same time and just, you know, clarify that there was a, like, this one was an extended version. But that never happened. I wouldn't be able to tell you why. Back in that day, it was very tricky for me and very strange making these types of videos. I would just make like visualizers and not ever show my face. So I kept it in the vault, but when I was working on Daydreaming, I decided to add it as part of the album and just release the extended version there. If you haven't listened to Feel, you can go up here. It's somewhere around there. And if you have, get your favorite, you know, To Feel type windbreaker. And let's get to it. This song started with the first thing that you hear, which is guitars. I know the chords that I'm doing in that song, like essentially it's a G, then a B7, then a C, and then a C minor. And for some reason I just came up with these little arrangements, you know. That's just the chord. So yeah, those are little changes on those very basic chords that I feel like make this song a bit more distinctive once you hear that guitar. Also the guitar tone, if you like, you can see over here, even though you can't see the mix, but this is just one take of a guitar. You have this one, and this one. Let's say that this third one is like the fuller version of it. I'm guessing it has some sort of like, yeah, I think it's supposed to have this sort of chorus effect. That sounds right. Okay, fair warning. This version that I have on this laptop may be missing a lot of things, or maybe it doesn't sound exactly like the original version because it's just a project that I exported from my old laptop to this one. And I realized that there were a lot of things that we're missing. But if you hear something that's kind of like out of place or doesn't exactly sound like that, that's why. But then you have these two. There's a slightly pan to the right and it has a brighter type of tone, and this one is slightly pan to the left and it has a darker type of tone. Now, why did I do this? Well, the honest answer here is that I just wanted to replicate kind of like the effect of the guitar that you hear on Prince's Purple Rain. Thing is that at the time, I thought this was what's going on. This is my 19-year-old self. My 23, almost 24-year-old self is convinced that what's happening in that song is just that they took the guitar with its effects and everything and just panned it to the right a little bit, or whatever, left, right, doesn't matter. I don't remember right now, but they panned it slightly so you could hear more on one side than the other. I think it's pretty cool that I never looked that up. I just kind of figured it out by myself, because then I came across this effect for my own song, and now it's very original, even though it was not intended to be original. You're welcome. The guitar pretty much stays doing the same chords, or almost the same chords, throughout the whole song. But it's a very organic type of take, you know? It's very easy to just record like a loop of a guitar and just keep it going. I still wanted this song to feel very organic. So if you see on the waveform, it gets louder and more dynamic in the chorus, and then it goes down again, and then it increases again, and then, you know, you get the idea. But it's never just the same take over and over again. The only part where it changes chord progression is in the pre-chorus, which is this one. And there, the thing that I'm doing is, it's not that different. It's just E minor, B7, C major 7, and then B7 again. And that's it. That's now you can do a cover of the song. Please do it. I'll listen to it gladly. And I'm just going to show you how it gets a bit more intense when it gets to the chorus. Now we can go all the way to drums. I love drums. So this is a combination of 3 types of drums. So first off, we have the samples. Now, what makes a song sound like an 80s song? It involves a lot of things, but mainly one of the main components of 80s pop music is a snare with a lot of reverb. So that's why in the pre-chorus you start hearing the snare right here. It's not just reverb, you know. Like the reverb, it's trying to follow that decay path, but then the next snare comes by. And so that's why you set this gate over here. And that's why this effect is called a gated reverb. But that's kind of how 80s music goes. And you know, the only other sample that I add is the kick drum alongside with that snare. That's it. Very simple. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then, because this was a thing that I used to do all the time, I added some real sounding drums to accompany that. And the hi-hat, the main hi-hat sound that you hear in the song, it comes from that. So it's this one. You can barely hear it in the background. It's just to add that sense of depth, and also the hi-hat. I didn't have a hi-hat, so then you have this. And then after that, it's just this thing, which is it kind of gives you that feeling that there's a lot of people stomping and then clapping. So it sounds like this. It adds some crunch to it, so and that's pretty much it for drums. When you get to the final chorus is the exciting part, because that's when you hear all of these impacts all at the same time. And then this part right here, and then it goes back. And yeah, like aside from those little arrangements, the drums stay pretty consistent throughout the whole song. Then we can talk about the bass, which is also very simple. Every time I talk about something in one of my songs, I say that it's very simple, but trust me, there's not that much of a mystery here. Here's the bass. Just root note. And that's it. To replicate this bass sound, basically you need a low end bass, to give you that strength and punch. I don't know what else. And then another bass, which is basically the same take, but you just duplicate that, and then you have a bass taking care of the high end of the song and sounds distorted and crunchy and driving. And when you combine those two, when you get to the pre-chorus, you just hear the darker one. Same thing, just keeping the root note. Nothing crazy there. Then we can talk about the piano. It's so funny because I don't feel like this is that interesting, but I remember I didn't have like a keyboard in my bedroom because I produced most of this song in my bedroom. And so I had to go downstairs and plug in like my dad's keyboard onto my laptop and just, without headphones or anything, just like recorded that way, just with the laptop speakers. That's how I monitored it. I mean, it doesn't sound like a big deal and it doesn't sound that interesting, but at the time that was like a whole task. It's like, oh my god, I have to go downstairs and do this. That's the thing about recording a song and stupid things like that. Those are the ones you remember the most. Like I remember that moment where I had to place the laptop right next to me on a chair because the cable wouldn't reach that far, so I couldn't just put it wherever. And then me playing the keyboard and kind of deciding, okay, I'm gonna do this, and make quick decisions. I remember recording the piano didn't take me that long, but I do remember that moment. And then the chorus. Same as the other two, it stays pretty much the same throughout the whole song, except for this moment where I added this little detail here. You're building up the song. Want to be, want to try, want to feel. That's one of the last things I added to the song, and that's why it's on a separate track. Talking about keyboards, we can talk about the organ. This organ is a stock Ableton sound. I remember adding this when I was making the first demo loop, however you want to call it. It sounds like this. And now, getting into synth land, I want to talk about this synth right here first. If you look closely, you see that the track plays throughout the whole song as well. And the sound in question is this one. It's kind of very hidden and drowned in the background. To be completely honest with you, I don't even know if that sound adds anything to the song. We can take it away and test it. I swear right now I'm not. And this with the sound. And I hate to sound like. I mean, it's there. You can definitely hear it, but does it add anything? That was the debate I had in my head when I was working on this song. Because mind you, I'm still very new at this point. And I added the synth, I'm guessing, when I was making the demo or something. And I never took it away because I was scared that because I was listening to the song over and over again, I would take it out of the song and then not even realize that something was missing or that, stupid shit like that. So that's kind of the story of this synth. I don't know why in the chorus it's like barely present. I don't even know, bro. But yeah, that's the story about that synth and how a bit useless it is. Probably not for the whole song, but for bits of it, yeah. We have this one. Some synth strings. They sound very nice. It reinforces the 80s vibe. I feel very strong, very... I just love that I keep doing like a gesture. So you kind of, even though I don't have the words, you have a sense of what I'm trying to say. And then we have, I think these are the plugs. So this is another like synth. It sounds very bright. It sounds very sharp. And this goes hand in hand with these string plugs. I'm sorry, staccato right here. Among the few things that we have left, we have the main vocal, which I'm just gonna show you kind of like the texture of it. I wanna know if you want to or if you wanna keep it all this way. Help me get you off my head. It sounds, I would describe it as metallic. You know, it's kind of distorted. It has some reverb to it. If you're wondering what that is, like that those cuts right there, is because you usually, when you're making a song, you record whatever instrument or vocal a few times, and then you pick and choose the best takes of each of those that you recorded. And sometimes cuts like that happen. Thing is that you're not gonna listen to the vocal by itself. So as long as it's blended with the rest of the instrumental and you can't tell that there's like different cuts, then why bother? Before we get to the backing vocals, which is one of my favorite parts and one of the parts that took the longest, let's take a look at the effects. So we have this reverb right here responding to the main vocal, or not responding, it's like warning what it's gonna say, or like predicting what it's gonna say. In front of my friends, what have you done to me? Why can't I leave you here? I'm only So some people call this, and this is actually what it's called, I don't know why I said that, a reverse reverb, which, you know, by the name you can already guess that it's a reverb, you know, like an echo, but it's backwards. So instead of leaving like a tail after whatever sound was played, it plays before, and it's like a rising type of sound. I don't know how to do that. I don't have an effect for that to just, you know, like slap it onto a track and then you're good. The way I did this and the way I've done it in other songs is that I just take the first vowel of the take, put it in a different track, and I just duplicate it. I'm just gonna demonstrate to you how that would look. So if you have a separate track, and let's say you want to do this, I would take this and just put it here and then duplicate it, and then you have this line of that one take. And so by itself it sounds like this. Not very pleasing to the ear, is it? But if you add some reverb and you really drown it in that reverb like this, this is a very bad example, but you're getting the point. And then you add something to kind of like ease into it. We're gonna use a utility where you can turn up and down the gain knob. So, you know, you can do that type of effect. Then we have this. Also something that I recorded. And here. No. It just felt appropriate. And then a riser. And that's pretty much it for effects. Now, onto my favorite part, probably, the backing vocals. Backing vocals don't come in until the second pre-chorus, where you hear this. They have their own phrases and melodies over there. One of my favorite back and forths, which is in the second chorus, it's this one. Tell me what you want. I don't know what's on your mind. Do I have to? Okay, listen to it by itself. but then the final part. Now, this also plays along with the main vocal, but I really love the sound of this choir by itself. No instrumental, no nothing. Just enjoy it with me. Tell me now what you want. What's on your mind? Do I gotta let you go? Or try? I love that part. My old laptop could not handle this project so badly that I had to create a new project just to have the backing vocals over there and then export that into the main project. If I did everything on the same project, my laptop would have definitely exploded. And I managed to give it this like feeling that it wasn't just me singing it. Think about how when you listen to a bunch of people sing something, how does that sound? They're usually not harmonizing. They're just doing the same melody, but everyone has like a different tone in their voice. So sometimes I'll do like a nasal voice like this, sometimes like a deeper voice. But yeah, I remember when I recorded this, I would just like let it play by itself, no instrumental, no nothing. I loved it so much. And then finally we have the outro, the first outro, because there's two. So the first one is just my voice by itself and an acoustic guitar. The main thing about these two outros is the emotion, conveying the emotion that you're sad, you're heartbroken, you're kind of desperate. So all you have is this empty, silent space. I wanna know if you want to or you. Kind of let it find its pace as you're, saying it. Just so you can hear it. Here's the guitar by itself. Very short. Some people ask me what that sound is because at first they can't recognize it because, I'm just playing like the top strings, which don't really sound like a guitar by itself. I love this part right here. Or at least just wanna try. And then this little section that I did here, same thing, just guitar and a few vocal takes. I improvised them a little bit while recording. I didn't prioritize getting like the takes right because I really like that natural, organic feeling of like the first few takes. So there's some imperfections that you can hear, but that's part of it. That's part of that experience. Vocals. And the guitar. Two guitars, panned. It sounds very lo-fi, very filtered. I would guess that very few people stay all the way till the end in that song, at least every time you listen to it. But I feel like if you really take the time to listen to the song and to stay till the end and you're just there, not doing anything else but listening to the song, I think this is a very powerful moment. I think I also captured that in the visualizer and it wasn't intentional. It's just that when I was recording the visualizer, I was very worried the whole time. I don't know if you can see it in my face because it was starting to rain and my camera was brand new, so I didn't want to mess my camera up. So the whole time I'm like worried, like, oh my god, like I need to get this take right. I was like approaching my deadline to have everything done for the album, so I was kind of stressed out at that moment. But when the outro hits and I'm just like singing it to myself and you can see the rain and everything, I think it totally captures that. And then by the time it hits the other outro, I just take the camera with me and I just let it roll. I don't know, I feel like it fits that moment perfectly. And so yeah, that was To Feel. It's a very old song now, but I'm very proud of it. And I think there was definitely a before and after in my music and everything with this song. It totally changed how I wrote music, how I understood music, how I recorded music. And I think it's a beautiful song. Like, props to me, but I think I had something really cool in my hands, like in that moment. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. As you saw in, my I felt video, I said that I was coming back. This is me coming back. Also, like the cover that I shot, you know, but this is me coming back. We're gonna have new music, new original songs, new covers, new deconstruction videos, everything. And let me know what you want to see next on this channel. I really appreciate your help and your support. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notified when I post the next video. Thank you so much for being here. Stay safe. I'll see you next time. Peace. Tell me what you